Hello and welcome everyone in another episode of Researchers Celebrities. Today, this is our first time to have a couple interview with we have honor to have Professor Ashish Bhatnagar and Professor Monica Bhatnagar with us for this Researchers Celebrity couple interview exclusive. A brief introduction for both of our speakers. Professor Ashish has done her bachelor's in agriculture from Jawaharlal Nehru Agriculture University, Jabalpur, and Professor Monica has done her bachelor's in botany from Delhi University. And from master's and PhD, both of them joined Indian Agriculture Research Institute (IARI) New Delhi and did their master's in and PhD in microbiology. And with enjoying research all over the world. Currently, both of them are professor at Maharishi Dayanand University, Ajmer, and we'll share the journey with all of you in due course of this conversation. Without a further ado, I would welcome both of our speakers at Empowering Science Foundation Researcher Celebrities by thanking both of you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Raj.
you, Raja. Rather, it
So,
is our privilege to be with you.
thank you very much, sir, for kind words. And we always start our conversation. And from here, you both can start this independently as and when you want. So we always start that how and when you decided that you want to become a researcher.
And if I talk about myself, uh, I think it is family background because my father uh, is a philosopher, scientist, poet, whatnot. So the environment at the home itself was such that I was inclined to know more. And to know more, you have to do research is one of the fields which takes you to the realms where you can try to find out more. So I think that is one of the reasons why I am in science.
Great.
And for me, Raja, it is again for me also. It comes naturally from my father, who was a scientist in horticulture department at IRI New Delhi. So, having seen, you know, as a school student also, I used to visit the IRI meet people, do some small projects as part of the school curriculum. And then later on, living inside the campus itself was an environment that really absorbs you into that kind of curriculum. So I guess it there also it is by nature that we both have been a part of this journey
So,
inside.
unlike our other researcher celebrities who had no clue that how they will end up here, both of you from your starting days were sure that this is the path you are going to take. And that includes, as in your case, that this campus, when you are born and brought up in this campus, it is impossible not to consider that as a profession and then end up being there. So let's start the journey from bachelor's because you did bachelor's in different places, and
Yeah.
from master's it is the joint journey which you are still pursuing. So let's start with the journey of the bachelor's, and then from there, at that point of time, not thinking of pursuing anything else, but doing master's and PhD, and then ending up being professors.
See, my father was in one of the first environmental biology department at APS University, Avdesh Pratap Singh University in Riva. That was the first which was started as MSc course for environmental biology. So he was one of the founders. And because of him being in environment, I also had the opportunity to read almost everything. I was interested in foods and I was interested in soils and plants and whatnot. At that time, my one of my cousins was also there studying with us at Riva. So he suggested, now, of course, in biology, mostly people either try for medical or go for agriculture, and these things are very, and they are considered very, few people will be considering agriculture. But he said to me that why not you try agriculture? because he used to live near JNKVV, Jawaharlal Nehru Agriculture University at Jabalpur. So he used to say that that's a great university and so many subjects and all those things are there. So he was one of the reasons. He later on he joined Air Force, but I came to agriculture. And I had given both exams, both entrance exams, medical also and agriculture. And in medical, I think, some 20, 30 marks I was having less. And in this, I was amongst the first 20 in the state. So I thought, why not to join agriculture itself?
Yes.
And that's true. And agriculture is a subject where you read almost everything you read. I read sociology, I read educational psychology, I read, of course, all sorts of sciences, agronomy, horticulture, civil engineering, electrical engineering, management of farm. And so I was really happy because by nature, I want to look at everything I want to see. So
Mhm.
that's how it is.
That was great. Like, when you're interested in more than one things, like as you mentioned about food, soil, plant. Okay, so that was the basic instinct to go towards the agriculture.
Yeah.
Yes, and
And for me, Raja, although research came naturally to me in my later period, but I was not a very studious child in school. I used to enjoy life. Yeah, I used to be more involved in playing and I mean other more into playing and all. So I was not a studious by nature. I used to perform good, but not the studious kinds. Never even thought of getting into medicine or engineering. I was more like that didn't matter to me what lies ahead. It was like whatever comes my way, I used to take it. It did not have any very bright goals. मुझे तो ये बनना है या ऐसा nothing like that. So I was a a happy-go-lucky person, and luck came across at
Mhm.
that time after finishing my 12th. Uh, it used to be just by, maybe it is by the number of marks that you get.
Mhm.
So there was a choice like बॉटनी लेना है या zoology लेना है या chemistry लेना है या physics लेना है. I used to think physics involves a lot of mathematics.
Mhm.
Mathematics was a little difficult for me.
Mhm.
So by nature, I went into botany, got admission there. So there was not much of thought put in or struggle out there. जो I mean, there were no inverted commas ki kya karna hai, but
Mhm.
it was at that time it was not so difficult to get into Delhi University like now, where until unless you have 100% marks you are unable to make through. At that time it was not so difficult, so got admitted to a botany at Miranda House. So and there were really good teachers out there that mentored us, and it was a good time.
So
And
from
then
there, from bachelor's, both of you ended up at IARI. Let's start the journey at IARI first for the masters, and then the thought it went to do a PhD.
Well, actually, what happened was in Jabalpur University, the sessions were late. Instead of four, the agriculture is 4 year course. I finished in 4.5 years. And when I finished after 4.5 years, I was very much irritated with this, with my university, that how the things will go on like that. So I decided I want to stay at Jabalpur. And at that time, there used to be one because library was always both libraries, Agriculture College and this Riva University Library. They were accessible to me for every time because of my father and there because of being a student. So I got that University Association's handbook. At that time, books were the only way. So there I selected universities where some distinct or different courses were there. Say soil conservation, agroastrology, that is growing grasses and all. Microbiology was also one option. Molecular biology was coming up. That was only at a few places. So I picked up all those courses and then I applied. Floriculture landscaping was there in Haryana Agriculture University. So when I applied, this is interesting. And when I applied, it happened that most of the universities did not reply. Uh, HAU, Haryana Agriculture University replied, but when I went to Hisar for interview, they said we have domicile restriction. I said, why didn't you tell me earlier? I have come from Riva to this far. But anyway, and then uh, there was Solan University, which was horticulture university. I had applied there also for some course. I do not remember which one. But there this had written back that we have domicile restriction. So everywhere it was closed down. I had given Bhatnagar. Bhatnagar, you know, is one of the top universities to Coimbatore and Bhatnagar. They are competitors. So Bhatnagar entrance I cleared, but I didn't have my result. And I didn't know that I could have taken admission in the second semester also. That time I didn't know all these things. So I was very depressed and I was with my uncle at Lucknow. So his friend, he's our family friend also. So he was there for some time at Lucknow. And he said he was posted in Oak Line near Delhi. So he said, why didn't you apply for IRI? I said I had applied. They didn't send me the forms. I had applied for both molecular biology and microbiology, and I didn't get the forms. So he, in 87, he returned back by flight. There were only 2 days left. So he returned back by flight, and from there he sent one of his persons from office that go directly to the IRI, pick up the form, uh, pick up the train, Gomti Express was there, and get it filled, return,
Wow.
and submit the form, and then come to me. That's how I filled up the form.
This
And then
is
of
the
uh,
most amazing story of applications we have had at Researcher Celebrity. Like this is the entire world wants you to be at IARI,
yeah,
and like
that is what
overcome.
I'm saying. That ultimately I got an IRI instead of going to anywhere else. And of course, IRI for any agriculture person,
Yeah,
it's a dream institute. So no regrets for that.
yeah,
So I
absolutely.
was almost 8, 9 months late,
Mhm.
but I got what I should have got.
Absolutely.
But what anybody would have wanted to get in India.
So true, so true. And then for ma'am, it was like just staying at home,
Uh,
and this is my place. I belong here.
No, earlier I took admission at Delhi University.
Hmm.
I did well in the university also, so I got a place in the university department itself,
okay.
botany department. But I had already given the entrance exam for IRI at
Hmm.
that time, and it had gone well. So I had prepared. I had literally done hard work to for that particular entrance exam, and it had gone well. So I was just keeping my fingers crossed because I should not say, but and when I was at the Delhi University College, the university itself was nearly 2 hours journey from my residence.
Hmm.
And that time there were no metro or anything. There used to be one bus that used to go. And university specials used to be there in that period. And if you miss the university special at 3:30 p.m., then you have to come by the normal DTC buses. And it used to be a torture. And the roads in Delhi were never safe, not even in those periods. There was a lot of eve teasing that we had to suffer so many times. So I was really scared. And there, the attitude of the teachers used to be that you have to enter the lab only after 4:30. So you have to start your work at 4:30. They had no the relaxations for people, local people who are living. That sensitivity was never there. So that was one point where I was very nervous. Like, how will I survive here? Then second problem was that though Delhi University is known for its great teachers that used to be there, but when I entered the classroom, in a classroom of nearly 70, 60, 70 students, uh, though the person who is teaching was a great researcher, he had done great work and they were very knowledgeable, but every knowledgeable person is not necessarily a great teacher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there, when you are teaching a class of maybe 40, 50, 60 students, then I used to find that uh, that interactive teaching was never there. I mean, practical part was good, but the classroom teaching, it was not the same as I had experienced in my graduation. In graduation, our teachers used to be very interactive. Miranda House teachers were very interactive and very good, that part. But the university people, they were not. So I was like all the time, कि भाई मेरा हो जाए admission, तो I will not be able to sustain here. So 15 days I was a part of that um,
Delhi University.
Delhi University. And then the moment I got admission in IRI, obviously, though it was more like home, but in any way, there was a rule to register for the hostel also. So for me, within the campus, I was enjoying both the hostel life as well as the localite wala life. So it was the best experience of my life then. So there were no worries of having to travel 2 hours to and 2 hours fro. I mean, that part actually kills your that much time that you are killing
In
in
IRI,
travel.
we worked in the nights, but
Mhm.
since it was campus only, so nothing is there to be worried about.
So
And
this brings us to, yeah, yes, sir, please.
when you said about all the stars were there, I do feel that destiny is there, because in the interview also what happened, uh, I know one thing by instinct, that if it is a long interview and with good grilling, that means they are interested and you are going to be in. And the interesting part was, in the morning I read probably Times of India or something, inner folders were there, in which Sachi and Vidisha and all those things were a part of an article, tourism article. And when I reached over there, uh, leave apart the subject, but the general knowledge person, whosoever was sitting there, he asked me where I was born. I said, Kurwai, it is in district Vidisha, very small place. So he said, how do you, what is it in Vidisha? Why is it known for? I said, Vidisha, I had read everything in the morning itself. So everything was clear. Vidisha was Ashok's sister and Sachi is there and everything. So I think 3, 4 marks, whatever it might be for for the general knowledge, that were through. So it happens. And there are, of
Absolutely.
course, your labor, your attention, everything matters. But sometimes your luck also matters. So,
And this is something which, as a scientist, we always have this debate about when successful professors, scientists, like you, when they say luck, I always try to moderate this with our audience that without doing the hard work, you
yeah.
cannot think about the luck. You
Yeah,
cannot think
that
about
I
luck.
agree, because unlike her, she was happy-go-lucky. But from my childhood, I was very lean and thin, used to remain sick for long periods. So I had to create my identity. And I thought only knowing the things, studies, because once you know, everybody will be after you, asking you questions and answering. And that was the thing which gave you importance.
Mhm.
So, that's how I was topping the university in agriculture also. I topped in the IRI also. That means, you have to do labor. Without that, you are nowhere.
So all those gold medals were because you wanted to create that identity, as you said.
Identity
I
crisis
need
was
my own identity, so I'll get gold medal wherever it is possible, and that's
not
how I
for
will
gold
be.
medal, not for gold medal, but the idea was that if you know the things, people will give importance to.
Exactly. So
So
this is
that is,
for all the audience there, that when professors like Professor Ashish and many other successful researcher celebrities at this platform, when they say it was luck, so it was one, or not even one, it is like 0.001% luck, but 99.99% they have done all the hard work. So just don't get drifted away when they say it was luck, and you have to do all
no,
what
I
is
don't. I don't
required.
want to stress luck. I can give you the how I used to face the interviews at various places. I used to maintain a spiral notebook. You might be all earlier people used to
Yes.
have. And while traveling, I used to question myself. I used to imagine that if I'm in the interview, what kind of questions will be asked and how this, when you face an interview, it's always normally people ask you that
Mhm.
what you are good at. So most of the students try to evade it. No, I know, and I have read everything bit of that. No, you come up with the thing that yes, this I know. So that I had in my mind, and from that point of view, I used to ask questions myself, and wherever I'm stuck, I'll write down. And when I reach the destination, I'll look for the books and find out what is the answer for that. And those spirals I maintained for long time, and they are, there is a book. I do not know what subject you belong to, but there is a general microbiology book by forgetting
Schlegel.
Schlegel.
Mhm.
That's very good book. It's almost and it encompasses the entire microbiology in a small. Uh, of course, it's not a small book, but in a small way. So that's how that spiral works like that.
Mhm.
And if you go to interviews by this way, that you tell that this subject, these subjects I'm good at, and then ask starting questions yourself and prepare yourself. You are always you will be the winner.
Absolutely. And this is something which we often talk about, like doing the SWOT analysis, as you mentioned. Like you
Yeah.
should know when you are speaking, what are your strengths, what are your weakness, and how you can navigate through them. Because if you say that, okay, I cannot do this, nobody in the panel is going to hire you. They want to see that, okay, nobody knows everything in this world, but you have to have that zeal that you are ready to learn and work on it. Because sometimes that is what is required when all these selection panels are sitting and having this conversation with you. So many of them also have no idea what your expertise is. It is you who have to tell that, okay, I know this, I can do this, and I'm ready and I'm willing to learn what is required for the
Yeah,
success of this position.
that's
So,
true. That's
coming for this, so ma'am, when you were like already waiting for that, okay, I want to join IRI, now I got this. Being a woman in STEM, we like, I think in India, this is now starting coming up all these at different platforms. People are talking about women in STEM, about the challenges they face. And yes, journey was one of the things which is not yet, we can say that India is so diverse, and because of family restrictions and because of so many other restrictions, why it always comes to this thought of women in STEM, why people are talking about it, and based on your experience, what you have seen when you were a PhD student, and now after mentoring so many PhD students under you, if I will ask you that how this thing has changed in your own experience, if you can share.
Uh, See, I think it depends a lot on the family background. My mother was a very progressive lady. Um, Now she was of the thought, "Ki when my daughter gets married, the card should read,
So,
son of Dr. So and so, मतलब Dr. So and so, son of Dr. So and so, weds Dr. So and so, daughter of
so
Dr. So and so. So she had the dream of having all that kind of a scenario. So when I got married, I had just I was still into my PhD when I got married. So my mother, forever in her life, she told Ashish that this is something where you defied me because I wanted the card to read like that, and you did not wait for another
for her PhD.
for, for her PhD to be over. So see, that was my mother's thought. Um, However, although in my extended family, I mean, my father was into service, but my extended family belongs to a business class family. So the general scenario was the girls used to study till their graduation, and then they used to be at home, and the only thing that has to happen is to get them married off. In fact, when I was finishing my MSc, at that time, whenever we used to go into a family party or something, so some people in the extended family, they used to ask me, आगे क्या करना है? So I used to say, I have to do my PhD. So they, क्या करोगी PhD करके? So that kind of thought process was there in the family also. So, and then after joining here at Rajasthan, in Rajasthan, and in a state university, you are exposed to the actual world, the ground reality. See, and the ground reality, because when we cater to some local students and a lot of students who are into suburban areas or small cities. So I have so many girl students who who have suffered like anything, and they have to fight into their families to actually go get into MSc also. And there are so many stories that maybe there is not so much time that I can even get into each one of them. And obviously, identity is a
one or two of them we still discuss and
Yeah.
feel sorry for.
There are
It's
so
such a
many
good.
stories. आज भी the general the general attitude of parents is like कि they doesn't matter what organization you are going into in Rajasthan, especially what I feel. They if a child wants, if a child has the zeal to study and prove himself or herself, it's very difficult, and not only from here. I have had students from Haryana, Delhi also.
Mhm.
Even there also, a family is not supportive for the girl child to study elsewhere. I mean, children are getting married. Obviously, in Rajasthan, students get married very early. Like I'll have MSc students who are already married.
Mhm.
So not only girls, boys, obviously boys also.
Mhm.
So you get married boys and married girls doing their MSc, and some of them even having kids.
Mhm.
So the scenario here is really sad. The other half of the family, that is the in-laws, they do not support. Sometimes I have had students who have really fought in their families, no, to complete, or they have suffered. Some are there who have fought in their families to complete their degree, and there are others who have really suffered at the
But in my 30 years, I have seen, and now there are sometimes some people. One of the students we had, she was having a kid. Her husband was not living with her, but she was with her in-laws, and in-laws supported her that you should do MSc, and she
Mhm.
was gem of a person. And despite having kids and all, she was doing all her projects and everything. And
so you have different kind of stories, but I guess the overall balance is towards I should say, a negative attitude than towards a positive. There are a few examples where they have been supported, but there are a number of examples where girls are still not being supported. There is a change, a slight change is being observed, because the number of, yes, one thing which is very important that I have seen is that the number of girl students coming to microbiology and science is high.
Increasing.
And the number of boys who are entering these fields is really low.
Yeah, going down.
The graph has been, I mean, earlier we used to have I remember around 97 or so, 96, 97, we used to have one girl and nine boys. That used to be, we used to have a uptake of 10 students only at that time. So we used to have nine boys and one girl, and that kind of ratios going on. And then slowly the ratios changed. They became equal. And now it is more girl students in our department than the boy students. That ratio has changed.
This is, I do not know why male students are not coming to the subjects like microbiology, because industry wants, and that is discrimination, of course, but they also have their thought process that we cannot ask women to be there in the night shifts. So they want more of they prefer male persons because of that. Of course, we now know that the kind of situations they have to face when medical and hospital, the Kolkata case, that happens. So they are also afraid that if I keep a woman, then I will have to arrange for her safety and all those things also. But despite having, some of our alumni gave us the feedback that more than 50,000 jobs are available in microbiology in industries, but they do not get good people. And of course, since men are going down, the male students are coming down in a lesser number. That also has created.
Must be having. I mean, that is a scenario with us, but may not be the scenario in every city or every other organization.
That is so true. And this is something which we always try to acknowledge, that the change in the society is appreciated, as Professor Monica also mentioned, that now the ratios are changing, uh, parents are supporting their kids,
Yeah.
and even in-laws are supporting the girl, or so that they can pursue their dreams and achieve all the success. But still there is a lot to work on, and I always personally say to all the parents or the in-laws that you are the only people who they have, and without your support it is impossible for them to pursue, because they want your support, they don't want to fight with you. But
That's
if they
true.
have to, as a man said, that there are courageous
But
girls
we
who,
have an extremely opposite case also, where parents are not, they are dissuading the child not to do research.
yes, exactly.
No, but the general ratio of girl students in science has increased, no doubt, and that is itself explanatory that girl students, I mean, parents are supporting girl students into science. Yes, when it comes to research, there is a slight issue out there, because research takes a lot of time. The child gets into a marriageable age, and there is a lot dependent upon the kind of family the child moves into. But yes, there has been a change with women in science. And yes, the change in scenario, when you say women in science, that change in scenario is very obvious when I gave you that example of 9:1, and then we have seen that change happening throughout our career.
So now let's bring to the research part in here, as you briefly touched upon, that when it comes to research, I have had researcher celebrities, friends having these conversations that they're like, do whatever you want, don't do a PhD. When it comes to girls, they are like, okay, you can do any other technical degree, do whatever you want, but just don't think about PhD. Why this taboo is still there, and how, like in your journey, how you have seen that it is changing, or it needs a lot of work, or what are your experiences for that?
Well,
Say, or I should say.
you come in first.
See, what I have understood is that money has become a game changer. And people, the students that we get, or the children who are growing up in the family and out of the family, they want to get into that, they want to become independent in very early in their life. And science doesn't give you that opportunity. So what is happening is, what I feel is happening is, like when you are into science, you have to, after finishing your graduation, after those 3 years of graduation or even 4 years of graduation. So if you see a skill-based course, right, like even if you say engineering or computer sciences or even microbiology, but when it is for a 4 year course, so these students, they will be hired by a private organization at the starting level, and with experience and their with experience in industry, their learning uh, will be focused towards the particular industry that they are joining in, and then they will grow in that. The experience will start mattering rather than exactly what you know. Now, when it comes to a general the general scenario in any other subject in science, it is like you have to finish your BSc, then you have to finish your MSc, and then you have to get into research. And so, how long? 3 years plus 2 years plus another 4 years. And if the child, if marriage happens in between anywhere, even for a male child, or there is a lot of pressure to be in an earning capacity, because you will get married if you are able to earn. Earlier, it used to be families, no? Families used to decide that, yes, ye parivar acha hai. It used to be more about, people knowing each other. The community was close-knit. Now, nuclear families are there. So, and students, or I should say children, they have their own identity very early in their life. They are very focused. Like, as I said, for me, I did what came my way. I just went with the flow.
No, I'll
So
I have a different perspective. This is okay, and this is also there. I won't say it is not. But no, what I experienced is that particularly in India, the industry does not want to do research.
Mhm.
When you say where is your R&D cell, their testing lab will be called the R&D cell.
Mhm.
And in earlier days when I joined over here, uh, it happened with some of the industries. They called a number of people like me from Delhi University, IIT Delhi, and uh, in microbiology there is one person who is really great. I uh, consider him Professor Jawari. We all were called for. The owner, uh, I'm not naming it, the owner always wanted, and he wanted that, yes, something new should come up. And we want to begin with some nanotechnology at that level. In I think, 90s, he was talking about that. And when the board is, their board sat with us, it was, oh, Dada, we already have everything with us. हमारे पास यानी ये technology भी है, वो technology भी है. And then I asked, have you developed it? He said, no, we have bought it. So what I mean is, in India, they want to buy the technology. They don't want to create something. They will be, and they are happy being laggards. They are happy being tail enders rather than being the leaders. Although now some industries have shown some changes, but still I will say that 90% of the scenario is that. So when they do not want a researcher, R&D is
Yeah.
practically very negligible, then how these people whosoever either they have to go to the institute or they have to go to the university, which also nowadays the government is also not giving vacancies since I think long back. I joined after that. I joined in '93, and I think by 2000, almost all universities and institute jobs started going down. So that is how, that is one of the reasons. I think that is one of the bigger reasons why nobody wants to go to research, PhD and all.
So this is what brings us to the next question, that the challenge, as you just touched the tip of the iceberg, that
Yeah.
why student doesn't want to be here because of either they are considering a career in academics, academia, like joining the universities, as you mentioned, that there are not many vacancies. Now, the second option, they have industry. So if you join an industry after your bachelor's, your pay, your success, if you are there for 5 years, is more than that person who joined it after doing PhD, where
So,
he or she has done all the hard work, gave it so much of time, resources, and a lot of life also. Because we always say that PhD does not change only your name by putting doctor, but they change you as a person also. Because now
Your
you.
perspective changes.
Yes, perspective, absolutely. Because again, this is one of the part which they say that observation is the key for every researcher. And researcher is the one who sees the things which not many of other have seen, the perspective which they bring. And that is why, which still keeps them this a margin of hope that people are, they want them, some doctors to be in their team just to have that fresh perspective. And then uh, coming up to your question, that how industry is like more towards buying it instead of developing it. And this is one thing which I think I should acknowledge India's opportunity, that how we are good in turning every challenge into an opportunity. And that's how the startups comes into the place, that okay, we are here only to develop this, you sell it, we buy it out, and then
Yeah.
going on and on and on. So this is one thing which is again happening good for researchers, that now the scenario is changing, that just after completing their PhD or during their PhD, the students have their patents. So now with the incubation center support, and either it is government, state government, central government, now you have these places where you can actually work on your idea, prove it as a principle, and then get funding. Then that is a
But,
next thing which we will talk about. But here I would like to take time to ask both of you about the role of mentors. So you have seen a talented student, and not going to the gender of the student, but you see that student have a potential, but because of the responsibilities they have, either family responsibilities or whatnot, they cannot support their dreams. So how a mentor should handle this situation?
uh, see, there are many facets to that also. As you said, of course, responsibilities are there. Even I feel there is a lot of psychological pressure nowadays.
Yes.
Uh, I didn't have in my earlier days, even when we were at IR, the Premier Institute, we had started having students, friends, colleagues who were going into depression. But in the entire institute, where somewhere around 1,000 students are there, one or two students were there. But nowadays, I think last 5, 7 years in a city like Ajmer, where it should not have been so rampant. But nowadays, in every batch, I have almost every batch, I have one or two student who is psychologically uh, challenged. I will say that he's under pressure. I don't know, man. Maybe we are forcing them to dream about things which they are unable to handle. I won't say capable, but handling is, of course, a problem. And somewhere in our primary education itself, we have lost many things. Like the student never asks question. Uh, it's most of the, and only in 4 or 5 batches, I get one student who's asking questions. And of course, he or she goes up also because you are inquisitive. And our responsibility becomes, right, the way you say about the mentor. My entire aim is, while I teach them, other than giving them the subject details, in almost every uh, second or third week, I try to inculcate. My class also starts with questions, and I try them to be inquisitive. But still, I do not think I'm very successful in that. And unless you start questioning the things, and then not only that, mentor has to tell them the right places also.
True.
I always quote one thing to all my students in the first batch, in the fresher batch, that just go on Google and find out Earth is information on Earth is flat, and they go and they find and they say that there is a society and some 20,000 people are there or 2,000 people are there who are talking. That is how I try to tell them that Google is not just giving you the right information, it is just giving whatever anybody wants to say.
Yes.
And nowadays, this facility has turned up like मैं जो कहना चाहता हूँ उसके सपोर्टर.
True.
And whatever I feel is right.
So
I
true.
can write and I'll find out in my support there are thousands of people. So I'm happy that yes, I'm right, but you are not right.
True.
So where to find the correct information? That is one of the keys. Internet has become so big and so huge that unless you get the right kind of information, you will be lost in it.
True.
So mentoring nowadays is a different kind. And in our days, it was mainly books. So not everybody had that ability to write books, although sometimes you do get bad books also, but that percentage was less. But now this is such an easy technology that I know you might have seen the cartoons also, whosoever, and you do not know who is writing, a pet is writing or somebody is writing. So you don't know who is the expert.
True.
Bigger challenge is how to deal with this technology. And unfortunately, uh, we had so much difficulty in finding out information, and this generation has ease of doing it. But they are not ready to utilize.
The zeal is missing.
Zeal.
The
How to inculcate that zeal is a big problem.
And also, I think partly what you mentioned is the reason for the mental health. Now, the burnouts in the researchers, which is for real, it is a real phenomenon. It happens. Researchers more, they are also human beings, and unlike just everyone in the world under pressure, some people perform really well and some people are not able to cope up with that. And then this is a recent thing which I will appreciate for Indian education system, that people are starting talking about the mental health of researchers, of the PhD students, the postdocs, and in some of the places they do take a faculty also into there, because at the end of the day everyone is at receiving end at the same point when they are at the giving end also. Like if
Yeah.
a student is not performing well, it is the problem of a PhD advisor also, that how it can be navigated. There has to be a path which needs to be curated to see to ensure the success of the student without compromising on science. Because there are few cases where people have taken the other way, either by manipulating data or doing whatnot, and then ruining the reputation of Indian researchers as a whole. because when you talk globally, people just have few examples and then saying, questioning the research of India. It is not the reality, or just because of that representation, the damage you are creating is so huge that I don't think that as
Uh,
a researcher,
I,
morally it is not good. Yes, sir.
I slightly, I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, no,
Slightly I
please. Yeah.
disagree with you. If you see the retraction watch,
Mm-hmm.
we are not so much
Mm-hmm.
important. Retraction watch, you see the retraction, how what kind of papers are being retracted. They are everywhere, and
Yeah, that is
uh,
true.
there are. But the only thing is important, which you said, that in most of the retractions, people have and methodologically either they were not very sound, or they have just ignored
Mm-hmm.
something. But in our case, the kind of research we have, particularly PhDs nowadays, there is figure manipulation. That is
Yes.
more worrisome.
True. Some of the people just get retracted, and that is like, not to name the institutes, but that is the point here is that when you see a student is under pressure, the role of a mentor should be like parents. That when you see your children are going through a stress, you have to be more sympathetic to them instead of just meeting the deadlines. That, okay, your deadline is up, you are supposed to do this, perform this. One thing which the reason why we are having this conversation is how a mentor or an advisor acknowledge this, as we are talking about the mental health of the researcher, that how we acknowledge it and what are the methods, how we can, troubleshoot this, because this is also one of those troubleshootings which needs to be acknowledged and then done. So, your guidance to the early faculties, because now you guys have done this so long. Now, this is the early faculty who are facing this challenge now. What are your thoughts and guidance to the PhD student as well as to the early faculties?
Uh, no, no, but
What I feel is that PhD करने के लिए you require a lot of dedication, a lot of dedication. So if that dedication in the student is there and the will to do it is there, I think nothing can stop the person. No personal or other issues are actually they take a back seat if the will to do something and the dedication to it is there. Now it is, as a mentor, it is very difficult to differentiate between the genuine issue and a non-genuine issue. I have faced all kinds of issues during with my PhD students. It's very difficult to distinguish between a genuine. I'm not a very hard taskmaster. Now, being a hard taskmaster, it has its own issues, and not being a hard taskmaster has other issues. So then that genuinity has, it's very difficult. I tell you, it's really difficult to you be a parent. You are successful in some cases, but on the other hand, you are misused in some other cases. So I think the equation varies with every student, with every scenario, and with every period.
no, but that's true that we cannot easily find out the genuineness.
There
But
is no,
but
there
but
is no written solution
but
to it.
I would say that this period, particularly when I see the new generation of students coming up, we do need to mentor our mentors also,
Yes,
in the sense that some kind of psychological counseling of the mentor is also.
true.
Because see, if there is a project, there will be deadlines, there will be timelines and everything. And if I'm not getting results from my student, then I'll also be under pressure. And whatsoever sensitivity or sympathy I might have with my student, that yes, he's having some genuine problem. still I'll have to force that no, because otherwise it's the credit of the institute which will be lost, and next time you won't be getting funding, and so many things are there. It's not just one student who is getting to be suffered, who is suffering right now. It will be the generations who will be suffering because of it. So how to deal with such situation is a psychological thing which we also need to learn.
True.
And we do have refresher courses, orientation courses, and everything, but somehow we have missed the train. This should have been added in all refresher courses that when such problems come up, then how do you deal?
Yes.
Because nowadays, particularly in universities, leave aside institutes because institutes have mandate for research only. But in universities nowadays, teaching research were always there, but so much of administration is there, reporting,
Mhm.
reporting, which was
So,
not there in earlier times.
yeah.
That you are also under
Lot of pressure.
psychological pressure, timelines, and all those things, which I still feel they are not needed, which we do, the kind of work we do. The main thing is, of course, we have lost the focus of teaching and research.
True.
Because if my progress is to be measured by a senior or by an administrator on the basis of a report only, then I will be busy with that only. Why will I bother about it?
So
Because
true.
that you will be giving me tensions. You see, in our cases, our workload is based upon how much we deliver.
Mm-hmm.
है ना? इतनी classes ली, how many classes you have taken, that is our workload. Is it? That
Mm.
is unloading of workload.
That is so true.
Where is my the moments which I'll be
In the meeting.
reading the books and looking into the internet and all? You do not count it as workload.
True.
And then you put up a load of files that this is to be finished. So,
Exactly.
in fact, the education system, although national education policy is a really good document,
Mm.
but the administrators and our governments, they cannot understand what higher education is.
Mm-hmm.
They need to know that to prepare a lecture. Of course, we are also responsible for that. But I would say that when you will put so much of administrative things, then you cannot blame the teacher also.
Absolutely. And this is something which we always say that if you like, I think there should be a day, and some of the institutes actually does this also, that there is one dedicated day in the year when they bring the administrators to the labs and show them that, see, this is what it takes to do this simple experiment or
It
to do
will
that.
never come up. Then we have tried so many times, and now I am at a senior position, and for that matter, and for everything, say NEP ka implication implementation or IQAC, whatever it is. If you try to call the administrator, he won't be coming up. If
Yes.
you will ask the administrator just to speak 2 lines for the students, he won't be able to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to assess the teacher by way of the writings, what they have done.
So true. So
There are things which,
yeah,
but I do feel that for mentors, there must be some psychological training also.
absolutely. And this is very important because so every researcher knows about their experiment because either they have followed somebody works, the protocols, the methodology. But for this, researchers are not trained. And this is, so just keeping the conversation timeline in mind, that the training for becoming an educator, the training to becoming as an administrator, these things, and then again, training in dealing with the mental health issues, that how you acknowledge them, these things should be included at early faculty stages so that they can be happy and healthy by themselves, and then create a new generations and then train the new generation of researchers in their due course. That was very important also. So at the end of the day, at the end of this conversation, I would like to know the word of wisdom from both of you for the researchers in general.
Well, for researchers, particularly for researchers, I would like to say that the most important thing is observing. If your observation, and when you do the work, before ending, I'll just give an example that one of my students got an organism which was growing in absence of water at some -7 bar. Optimally, it was good. And still, he thought that because the literature was saying no such thing is occurring, that which will be growing under water stress, like better in the water stress. So he manipulated the data. Somehow the same organism I gave to some other student, and he came up with the same situation, and he came to me that I'm getting this. Then I asked the first person, and he said, "Sir, I also had it better in this condition, but I thought this is a wrong result." So he was true to at least what he had done. But then I told him that you missed the train. This is a kind of organism. But what we try to find in research is something new, some aberrant thing.
Mhm.
If that is there, you need to repeat the experiments.
Mhm.
You need to see if you have done something wrong in your experiment. Those things are valid. But if you're getting the same results again and again, that means you have achieved what you wanted to.
True.
So I'll suggest one thing is observation, that what you are observing is very important.
Mm.
And secondly, questioning the things.
Yes.
When you observe and you see that the way I said that if you had seen it, you should have questioned yourself. You should have questioned me that, sir, I am getting such a result. I would have said that probably you might have done this thing wrong or this repeated this way and all. But we would have come to the truth. Na? So
True.
that is, those two things are important.
Absolutely.
And to add to this, I would say that a researcher has to have the zeal, patience, and more than that, more than anything, if a person really wants to uh, do research, so कहते हैं ना डूब के जाना है.
Exactly.
Until matlab, there has to be a time when while sleeping you are dreaming of your, until you get to that stage कि सोते जागते you are actually thinking about that
For
issue.
this, I always tell my students that this is regurgitation. And if
Yes.
you start working on it, and when you read, you go on thinking on the same thing, like the way the cattle do. That
Mm-hmm.
खाया फिर निकाला फिर चबाया फिर खाया. So this is
That
how
is
it is.
so true.
भी करना है कुछ भी करें.
And
See, that is what has been my life.
absolutely.
Forever, whatever stream, whatever, wherever I ended up, maybe by choice or not by choice, जो किया उसको डूब के किया. सो
Absolutely.
until unless वो डूब के निकलने वाली बात नहीं आएगी, तब तक nobody can do research. Otherwise, the person is going to end up in a frustrated.
Or you're just a technician.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is clear.
If you want to be really a researcher, you have to live into it. You have to
Live with
be.
the moment. Exactly. Live your experiment, as you mentioned. So,
Yeah.
with this, I'll say to summarize this conversation, the take home for all the researchers, either you are early faculty or you are doing PhD or a postdoc, that observation, Professor Ashish just mentioned that how the observation is the key and questioning should be, that's how all the research starts, that you start questioning that is it possible, has it been done, how we can do that. And then Monica ma'am said that about the zeal, the patience, and the most important thing, you have to live your experiments, and that is what ensures the success for all of you. And with this, we'll say thank you so much, Professor Ashish, Professor Monica, for sharing this journey and making, you know, all these researchers think about that what they are doing, how they should be doing it. And for all the researchers, stay tuned for other episodes of Researcher Celebrity. And if you want to write to the Bhatnagar couple, you can write it to them. If you want Empowering Sense Foundation to put you in touch with our researcher celebrities, we are here to help you. Only what we want from you is that passion, dedication, to pursue, to live your dream. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.